everybody. Welcome to the Fired Up with CJ show. Today we have Susanne Weki, and she's talking about her book, The Seven Elemental Forces of Huna. And we have her beautiful book here. We're going to learn all about the seven forces of Huna. So welcome.
Thank you, CJ. I'm really happy to be part of your show.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you here. I've had some guests over talking about Oponopono, but I've never had someone talking about Huna generally. So what is Huna, and how does one use Huna?
Oh wow, what a honor to be the first
Yeah.
talking with you about Huna. So Huna is a very ancient Hawaiian philosophy, and you can use it for healing, but also it's a very good treasure to learn how to deal better with life.
Hmm.
And the advantage of Huna is it's very simple and very clear. The only thing is you have to remember to use it. And
Yes.
then your life can change.
Hmm. And how did you come across Huna? How did you initially come across it?
One of my friends talked about a book, and that book doesn't went out of my mind. So I did some research, and by researching, I discover Serge Kahili King, which is the most well-known person who teaches Huna.
Serge
He's
Kahili King. Is that his name, right?
Yes, Serge Kahili King, and he is the most well-known Huna teacher. He's 82 meanwhile,
Wow.
and still in a really, really good shape. So he really lives what he teaches to the people.
So that was the
And
book that you discovered was a book that he had
yes,
written. Oh,
yeah.
wow. Okay. Wow. What a
And I
panel.
had the chance that he was visiting Germany
Oh,
for a
wow.
workshop,
Yeah.
and I attended this workshop, and I was a little bit kind of critical if that works because it's so easy.
Mm.
And I was really astonished because after that workshops, the week after these workshops, I had so many telephone calls to make appointments for healing sessions I've never had before. And that was the experience I had that convinced me to study Huna more intensive, because during that time I was not just a white sheet of paper. I did a lot of shamanic studies, and I was very experienced. But that was something, wow, that was like a firework.
Wow, that's interesting. So you were doing shamanic practices before, and then all of a sudden, after taking classes, you had a whole bunch of clients. Were they clients from the class, or just independently, people just came to you for healing?
Just independently people which came to me from my region. So the class was somewhere near Munich, and all these people were within 50 kilometers around
And they
the
didn't know that
place.
you had this. They were just interested in previously what they knew of you, which was the shamanic abilities, and but you had that's fascinating. So you're kind of
Yes.
led by spirit to like, okay, go and use this now. So tell me a little bit about. So you're skeptical about how simple and clear and easy it was, but what it can you and you said Huna is kind of a philosophy. What are some of the core tenets of the philosophy?
They have only a few basic things. They have 7 principles and they have 7 elements.
Okay.
And when you know these 14 things,
You're done.
then you are well equipped. Yeah, you are done.
Okay.
You can start.
Okay, so tell me the principles and elements. So let's start off with the principles, and then I know we're going to be talking about the elements. Give
Yeah.
me some of the principles.
Oh, we can mix it because
Okay.
each element stands for one of the principle, or each principle goes along with an element.
Okay.
So when we start with the element, which is the main part of my book, the first element is the wind.
Hmm.
And the wind brings you clears your mind. It makes you to be aware, or it gives you insights. And that's the first principle.
Oh, is that the wind brings you insights and clarity?
Yeah,
Ah, okay, got it. So it's both the principle and the element. I understand.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you see directly the connection. And the next element is the fire. And the fire stands for freedom, for transformation, and also for forgiveness. So
Hmm.
in my book on page 19, there is a wonderful overview where, with this overview, people can work with. Oh, yeah, perfect.
I don't know if people can see
Perfect.
it. So it's a table that talks about the
Yeah,
elements on the left column, the qualities, and then the manifestation, and then also the goddesses that you call upon.
yes,
Okay, got it.
yes, yeah. And the quality is another word for principle, because when people are not familiar with Huna, um, that's why I choose the word quality.
Okay,
But
got it.
in the end, it's the same, another name for the principles.
Okay, so in the next to the qualities and manifestations, so there's like so I'm gonna go backtrack a little bit. So for wind, it was breath, gust, breeze, storm, hurricane, fan, blow dryer, air conditioning unit, and tell me the hilaka. What's the name of the goddess?
Hiyaka,
Hiaka.
hiyaka.
Hiaka.
Yeah,
Okay, so those are the ones for wind, and with fire, it's sun, laser flames, hot coals, explosion, volcano, lava, lightning, star, real fire, cooking pan, and heating, and then it's Pele. So when I look at these things, how am I supposed to? So I understand the quality. What's the manifestation goddess? How's that work in with the principles and the elements?
so for example, you want to change a certain behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you want to lose 10 pounds within 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And to release yourself and to get power for this new habit, you can get into a deep connection with the fire element, because it could help you to change rules, connecting to your eating behavior to achieve the goal you want to achieve. For example, you want to celebrate your 30th birthday in a very special way and want to fit in a special robe. And therefore, you have to change some of your behavior if you want to lose weight.
Okay, I have one that's upcoming. So I'm going to be walking the Camino in your neighborhood,
Okay.
and it's part of that intention that I'm going is for freedom and for transformation, and perhaps forgiveness. I don't know, but let's say that those are the things that I'm interested in. I'm hiking, and
Mhm.
I hear these manifestations, the sun, laser flames. So let's say that that is my intention. How would I take some of these images, the sun, the laser flames, and Pele, during my walk and
Mhm.
help bring in the energies for transformation?
Oh, that's a very good example.
Yeah,
During your walk, you have the sun.
yeah.
So you can start your walk and consciously get in touch with the sun by feeling the sun, by admiring the sun. And then you have this power of the sun for your whole walk. And
Mm,
not even for your whole walk, even for the whole day. When you sometimes take 2 or 3 seconds to think about the sun and be aware that she is still protecting us or still supporting you. So it's not necessary to be always in nature. It's necessary to refresh the connection sometimes
okay, so it's
and to
connecting.
remind yourself. So that's what I say in this book, that you don't need to go outside. You can use every source of fire. The light in your room, or a picture with fire, or just the heating in the room is an
Mm.
expression of fire, and every expression has the same wild energy, the
Mm.
same original energy, this individual energy that only presents the fire.
And so I'm walking along the Camino. I start off in the morning. Maybe it's not sunny out, so I look at a picture of the sun, or I think about Pele. Is that how the goddess
Yeah,
would come up? Okay, so if it's
yeah.
like, it's a dark, dreary day and I'm walking in the rain, I think, okay, Pele, I'm going to focus on imagery, or do I call upon Pele, or how does one bring about the Pele energy?
You just think about a form of fire energy, or you imagine how the goddess of fire would look like.
Okay, got it. And then
And
just,
she's walking next to you or behind you.
I like that. Okay, good. I like that. Okay, good. So that's Pele. And then, so for example, and just to add this, so the wind is about consciousness, perception, realization. And I'm finding lately, as I'm planning and getting ready, one of my, I lose consciousness. I start thinking about, I've got to get 3 socks, and I've got 2 pairs, and how many liters of water am I drinking? My mind is just full of information. So I may go out and just breathe, or just, I can't go outside. My mind is crazy. I'm trying to go to sleep, and my mind is, and don't forget the. So I just tune into my breath, and then tune into my breath and bring that energy with me as a way to clear my mind. And do I call upon the breath, like, breath, please help me clear my mind? Or is it just breathing and thinking the breath is clearing my mind now? How would I use the element of
Both
breath?
ways are possible, and there are so many ways. And has no special rule. It says choose what works for you.
Okay. And so some of the
And
different, yeah, tell me about the different ways that you have found have worked for your clients and yourself.
some people, for example, they like to be in their holidays at the Northern Sea where you experience a very strong wind. So for them, it's very easy to recall a memory to stroll along the beach in the Northern Sea, and they are immediately connected with the wind.
Okay. So they have
And
like
they
a
can say,
connection point.
okay, I recall this memory, and that kind of wind helps me to get clearer. And others concentrate on their breeze, and others say, okay, I'm blow drying my hair, and there are thousands of tasks and thoughts in my mind,
I
and I
love
just
it.
want to have a clear mind before I leave my apartment. So they use this source of wind energy.
I
So we
love
can be
it.
very creative.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like the ones that are more modern. I have a friend, and we're going to get to water next, so the water in your book is about focus, decisiveness, and ambition. Rain, snow, ice, sea, river, waterfalls, ocean, fog, stream, perspiration. Perspiration, I never thought about that. Domestic, uh, domestic drinking water and well. And what's the name of the goddess?
The goddess is Hina.
Hina. Um,
Hina.
so my friend, he's in the army. He was like one of these special forces in the army, and he's very spiritual. And he said,
Mm-hmm.
when I take a shower, I just imagine that shower is cleansing everything from my body. But it's interesting because this would say focus, decisiveness, ambition. So if he were to just imagine that this is clearing everything from his body, allowing him to be more focused, therefore able to move forward on some of his goals, that would be like the visual. That's how he could use his shower every day as a
Yes.
way of thinking about that.
Or the
Mm.
other explanation would be that he changed his focus by showering. Because before he went into the shower, he was in the thoughts, what was happening today, what did I experience? And now he used the shower to have another focus, to be more grounded, to allow himself, it's leisure time, I'm here, I'm at home, and no thoughts about work until I start the next morning.
I love that. Okay, any other kinds of, I can see that like washing your face in the morning. It's like, okay, I'm washing my face. I'm moving from my sleepy dream time form of awakening to like a different focus, and I'm washing my face. So I can see all sorts of things that I can all of a sudden see um, everyday things that I'm doing as spiritual practices versus just like body maintenance, right? I
Mhm.
really like that. What are some other ways that people have, you or yourself or other people have used water? Because I love the creative ways, but sometimes hearing other people's creative ways help inspire me. What are some things that you do with water?
I want to add something to your example because you can use this morning ritual of washing your face and decide during the process of giving water into your face what is the focus for today.
Mmm,
I want to have
beautiful.
a happy day, a relaxing day, meet a lot of nice people, stay calm, equal what happens. That's also the idea of Huna to to make a connection between all day simple rituals with special goals.
I love that.
And that saves you a lot of time because why the reason why a lot of people don't change thing is they think they need extra time.
Right. To
They
like,
need a silent evening when the kids are in the bed and then they could sit down and do some ritual. But what happens, they are so tired, they fall asleep immediately. And so they say, okay, I do it tomorrow, I do it next week, I do it in the holidays. And that was one of my learning process when I discovered Huna to do it right now with simple things. For example, every morning I start the day with a cup of hot water.
mm,
I had this idea when I had some Ayurveda treatments. And now I use this hot cup of water to say, okay, now starts my day. I'm present in the very moment, and what I experienced the day after today or in a few months or whatever I had experienced with this client who is seeing me today, it's the past. I'm here, I'm present, and I allow myself to make new experience and discover new aspects of the persons I'm meeting today.
yeah, it's interesting because so I can, in terms of mnemonic devices, I'm thinking, okay, wind I get comes and blows away things. Your head is clearer. Fire I get because it's like burns up everything and it's like transforms everything. Water, I was like, well, water is kind of flowy and intuitive, but what's interesting is it's allowing you to focus and be present to something deeper than whatever is your action item list or whatever. So when you were talking about your clients, it's allowing you to be um, more focused on the moment. Not necessarily, I'm getting focused so I can get more work done. It's like focus on wherever spirit is trying to lead you that day too. Is it? Do you think of it that way? Because water, I think of as like flowy and organic, and you just flow to whatever is happening. And I can't get to the focus, decisiveness, and ambition. How do you make the connection? Because it's.
Ah, imagine you are a river,
Hmm.
and the river has the big goal to reach the sea on a certain point.
Yes.
And he followed this goal and this aim, and he never leaves his path. So when he came across obstacles, he always finds a way to reach the sea. He
Ah, okay.
doesn't say, okay, I turn around and instead of flowing north, I flew south. He's continuing, and he always finds a way to deal with the obstacles.
Yes.
And
Yes.
to concentrate means, for example, you want to lose weight,
Right.
and you are it's evening, and you have a nice evening, and you think, okay, tomorrow I will start. And the next morning you get up and you think, oh my gosh, one of my colleagues has birthday and he will bring some cakes. I think I would not resist.
Right.
I would eat a little bit cake, or
Yeah.
he would not understand when I say, no, thank you, I'm on a diet.
Right.
And and here comes the part of the water. The water will help you to concentrate on your new focus. Because as soon as we have a new focus, the doubts came across. And they
Right.
are talking and talking and talking, and the water helps you to tell them, okay, it's nice that you are here, but today is not your
Yeah.
day.
No cake right now for this is my day and I need to focus
This
on
is
getting
my
to my
day,
weight.
and the water gives you the focus to reach the sea, to
Ah,
lose
I
the
like
weight.
that. That I like that because that's something that it's because otherwise it's like the way I think about it is like, oh, water, oh, flow to eat the cake today. Then tomorrow I'm gonna flow someplace else. But if it's always like
Yeah.
a direction or focus, that helps me remember. Okay, so the other one is plants. Which is interesting because in Chinese and in Ayurvedic they have different ones. They have metal and they have earth. But what's interesting is there's like four different ones. There's plants, rocks, animals, and people. Um, so plants. So tell me a little bit about when you. I don't know because you said you studied a lot of these different systems. Why is it that, or tell me about the Huna and why it breaks out plants, rocks, animals, and people? Or do you know?
In Huna, there is this concept of Ohana. Ohana is a Hawaiian word and it means family.
Mm,
So the nature is your family or the part of your family. And
mm.
all these seven elements are members of the whole family Earth.
Oh,
And
nice.
and each element is as important as the other one.
Mm,
Each element is individual and has his special kind of power.
mm. Interesting. I
So
like it.
the people are not more than the water or the plants.
Mm-hmm.
They are all equal.
Mm. Oh, that's
And
nice.
when you are family, you support each other and and you give freely all your energy. So if we want to really get stronger and more powerful, we have all the rights and now let me put it in another way. Nature invites us to use and get connected with the energy of the elements. So, for example, with a plant, you do some hiking and you like the fresh air and you like the beauty of the wildflower and the huge trees and you think, oh, what, I'm so happy because I have a day off and I'm in nature and tomorrow is my working stuff again, but I enjoy. That's a very um, ineffective way to use the sources of energy. More effective would be you use the stone on the ground to hide more easily, or you see the hawk flying over you and you feel the pain in your shoulders from carrying your heavy rucksack, and you imagine that your arms and your shoulders are like the hawk flying over you who can move his wings so easily.
Mm.
Or you have to do some tech stuff and which is very boring for you,
Right.
and you drink some water to hold your focus for the next hour to
Ah, I
finish
see.
it.
Got it. Yeah. So it's like it's
That's
not
the
like
difference.
so in the first example, it's very compartmentalized. There's my work, and then there's my nature, and there's no integration between the two. Versus the second example is, oh, I'm in nature, and like, oh no, I have to go to work tomorrow and see all those
Mm.
people and do all those taxes, and those things feel onerous and awful. But if I think of people as part of my family and part of my spiritual experience. And I think of the water, the coffee that I'm drinking as part of the plants and the water. It's like it's a switch from separate and distinct to family and whole. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about plants. So I'm hearing presence, being in the moment, timeliness, updating. That's interesting. Trees, flowers, herbs, bushes, moss, algae, dried flowers, logs, furniture, doors, books, or pictures. And what's the name of the goddess? Laka?
Laka.
Laka. Okay, so, and we were talking about being in the forest and, seeing the trees and being present and being in the moment. Um, Tell me a little bit about how, and I love the idea of Ohana, which we were just talking about, of all of these things being part of my family. It's really, I think, a really nice way of thinking about these elements, which is and seeing that it's in my world right now, right? It's not just
And you
something,
working inside of you.
right?
So let me give you an example for plants.
Okay.
Maybe you are looking for a new job,
Mm-hmm.
and within the last half year you had a few interviews, and no, and you didn't get a job. You had the interviews, but they choose um,
Person.
another person. So, and today you have another interview. And to update you means to tell yourself, I'm a different person that I was a week before or a month before when I had these other interviews. And I'm not the person who holds herself back like it was 2 months ago, or is shy, or doesn't speak about all her qualities. To update you means to allow yourself that you have changed. Even within an hour or a minute, you change.
I like that. That's great. So
Yeah.
I'm like a plant, and we're like every single day we're changing. Cellularly, we're changing. We're growing and changing and developing every single day, but we don't, a plant helps us see that because we see a little seed and we see it growing. We see it flowering. We see physical manifestations of the plant and how it's changing very rapidly. But I don't,
Yes.
yeah, so I like how you would use the plants as a way of doing that. What other ways have people used plants that you've seen that help integrate that elemental force in their day-to-day experience?
They can have pictures around them
Hmm.
to bring them in the present moment.
Yeah. Fresh
And
flowers, or I assume house
yeah,
plants.
yeah. And another way is to talk to the spirit of a plant. For example, I had a beautiful experience this morning and I want to share it with you. I was on my jogging round and I choose a way I haven't done within the last weeks, and I came across a huge walnut tree. And the last time I saw this walnut tree was end of April, and we had 3 or 4 really cold nights with -degrees.
Oh, wow.
And this walnut tree was just on the way to open the bud, and the green little leaves were coming out. And after these cold nights, all these new leaves were dead.
Oh,
Brown little leaves were hanging, and I was not there when these cold nights happened. So I asked the farmer, "Oh, what happened with your beautiful walnut tree?" And he said, "Yeah, it's due to the cold nights." And now today, the walnut tree was huge and full of green leaves, and you really have to go very close to the tree to see a few dry old brown leaves. And I asked the spirit of the walnut tree, how did you deal with such circumstances? Because when we study the elements, we learn so much about how we could deal with life. And we all experienced things where we think, okay, I will do that, and then something happens and the day went in a whole totally different way. We have planned it. And is the same thing that happened to this walnut tree. And she told me, okay, every day is a new day. And I need a strong partner on my side to deal with it. And I asked her, yeah, who was your strong partner? And she said, oh, it was the stones, because the stone, we come to that point later, stay for the love, the aloha, the loving spirit that provides Mother Earth for us. And the other plants around me, they were so full of life, and they all were here to say, okay, it's spring, we want to grow, we want to go in our best shape, which is possible for this year. And the little grass was his most powerful partner. Because
beautiful.
And that was the way how this walnut tree dealt with the circumstances of cold nights. Beautiful. And I felt so blessed, and I was so full of energy after this little dialogue from 2 or 3 minutes.
Right.
And this was a kind of energy wave that brought me through the whole day and even into our interview.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story on so many different levels, because we have cold snaps in our life, right? Where it feels like I don't know how I'm going to live or survive after this hardship. And if you get the support of your family around you and the inspiration in that story, and recognize tomorrow can be different. 3 months from now, it's going to be different. Like you didn't know in April, that tree didn't know in April, that now in July, I guess it's now August or end of July, that things would change so rapidly. It wasn't thinking or worrying or wondering. It just kind of like happened. That's beautiful.
We have always choices how we deal with something, and this walnut trees choose to look for strong partners.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So one of the partners was, one of the partners was the rocks. I'm sorry to interrupt. Yeah. So tell me about, so it's love, praise, self-esteem, and pleasure. And you said that one of the things that the walnut tree did, and it's Homea. Tell me the name of the
Homea.
Homea. So mountain, hills, crystals, shellfish, metal, minerals, house, wall, towers, devices, crockery. Tell me, and you mentioned Aloha as part of that. Tell me what is Aloha and how does that fit in with the rocks?
Aloha means we share the breeze of life. Not only with the people, with every element. And when you know that we are constantly sharing the breeze of life, then you have to watch what you breathe in and what you breathe out. And the concept of aloha means to create more love in your life. And that means also love being a more self-loving person, but a more loving person in general. And you don't have to go through the world and say, I love you, I love you, I love you, everything is wonderful. That's not the concept of Huna. Huna says, try to provide more love that you did the day before. Because some people we can love very easily, and some people it's a real challenge to maybe you love this person 80% and you can love him 80.5% the next day. This is a real challenge.
I understand.
And sometimes this is a challenge still to hold this 80%.
Right.
And not to have only 60 or 50 or 10%.
Yeah.
And And you know, the rocks are here for millions of years, and they still exist, and they still deal with all the things that happening on the planet, and they still love to be here. And that's, for example, when I walk, I always remind myself that I'm walking on a street of Aloha, or that I'm driving my car on a street of Aloha. And many, many people in the world feel not loved or feel lonesome. And when you become an energy worker, then you never be alone, because your family, your Ohana, is always around you. And it doesn't matter if it is the wind or the person or your animal or your most favorite rose bush. You are always surrounded by parts of your family.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that. What I love so much about that is that, it's not, I think the authentic love, there's kind of like, oh, I love you, good God, I love you. But, and it's not like, it's not really like, wow, I'm really loving you as much as I can. It may not be that much today, and it may be less than yesterday, but because I'm like a rock, it's enduring, yeah, it's still there, and it may vacillate back and forth, just like a stone wears down, right, over time. I love that idea of walking along a path and seeing that as life energy all around you, and that you have the support of an earth of the and love of the earth. That's very beautiful. Okay, how about animals? Creative power, autonomy, self-confidence. So I know in a lot of indigenous cultures they have this idea of spirit animals. Is this the same kind of thing? So like, I just talked to someone, she was talking about moose is my spirit animal, and you call upon moose and the qualities of moose. Is this the same idea or different?
It's same and different.
Okay.
So part of this element of the animals is your spiritual animal. But you don't have to concentrate only on your power animal. You can choose every animal that is useful. For example, when I can't find the way, I think, okay, I imagine to have a Batman around me, and he is really experienced with his radar system to find the right way.
Right.
Or maybe you are not.
Okay. So like I'm doing a hike. I'm lost in the woods, and I don't really know where to go. And so I call up. It may not be my spirit animal. The bat is not my spirit animal, but I know that the bat has ability to, with its radar frequencies, kind of know how to navigate. So I call upon the bat. So it's similar to that. In a lot of indigenous cultures, they call upon the animals at that moment. What animal needs to be present at that time?
Yeah.
So, okay.
I told you before that I did this hiking and had this pain on my shoulder, and I saw this hawk flying over me, and that I get in touch with his power to move his wings so easily. And it took me only 2 or 3 minutes, and I realized that the stress and the tension is gone, and it was easy for me to carry my rucksack.
Interesting.
The whole day.
Yeah, so it's really being in tune with the animals at that juncture that were with you at that time, right? So you were asking the walnut tree, which was there during your run this morning, or the hawk that was flying, or an animal that's not even there. Like I assume a bat was not there.
No, of course not. It was not.
But you were able to.
Whatever you imagine is around you, because the very moment you start to think about the animal, the connection is here.
That's beautiful. All right, so that's how it's similar. And it's dissimilar in what way? I'm sorry, I was thinking about the example, and I saw you said it's both similar and dissimilar to some of these power animals. How is it not similar?
Because with the power animals, you think I only have the power animal and this helps me for everything I'm dealing with.
Ah, okay.
And and Huna says you can choose every animal you want. And the other thing is the Hawaiian name for animal is holo holo na, and the translation mean go out for pleasure. So whenever you do something and use your power, look that it brings pleasure to you, or more pleasure than you experience right now.
I like it. Okay. All right. And the goddess is Capo?
Capo, yes.
Yes. Okay. And what I find so fascinating about nature during this interview, we started when it's sunny, and now it's like you're in the midnight night of the dark.
Yeah.
The thing has been changed. I welcome you to turn on the light
Oh,
if you want, or
yes,
we can
of
just go with
course.
nature, whatever you want. It's up to you.
Yeah, we have already 9 o'clock in Germany.
Yes, I know. Okay, so do you want to turn you could do whatever. Turn the light. I think it's kind of interesting because it just shows us the phases of the day. Um, all right, so element people. Harmony, flexibility, success. Gods, masters, teachers, ancestors, angels, light beings, fellow human beings, characters in books, magazines, and films. And the goddess, Uli?
Uli.
Uli. Okay, got it. So tell me a little bit about this element, the principle behind it, and the element.
The big aim of Huna is to create more harmony in your life. So Huna says life is an adventure, and everything that happens in your life is a chance to have a new adventure and to bring more harmony into your life. And to get more harmony, you need flexibility, because sometimes we have a certain way in mind, and if this way doesn't work, then we think, oh, I will never succeed. The universe is against me, and that's the point where you need flexibility, because we live in infinite universe, and there are millions of ways. And okay, we naturally have ways or techniques, they work usually in certain cases, but sometimes we have the experience that a technique we are very familiar with doesn't work. And that's not the point to give up. That's the point to choose another way, another method, another technique. And for this flexibility, we can use all these sources of the elements of people. We can work with an angel, we can work with a person, live or dead, that stands for that quality, with ancestors.
Right. Yeah, I love it. Okay, God. So this is you were saying that Huna, one of the key principles is harmony. And so, if these things above, aren't doing it for you, maybe it's calling upon celestial beings, gods, masters, teachers who have spirit, some other kinds of energies that are not necessarily here, that have kind of an infinite, not necessarily earthbound energy. Is that what you meant?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And I am going to ask you to turn on your light now because I can't even see your face,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
No problem.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay,
wonderful.
wonderful. Okay. It's kind of cool. I actually like how the light was fading in and out, but then now I can see your beautiful face again. All right, so we've talked about the seven elements and their qualities, as well as the philosophy. It is very simple. And so when clients come to see you, what are they like? How do they use this book? Because I'm sure that you're like, oh, well, get my book. You can. How would you see someone using this book? And what are some of the benefits they're getting from doing this work?
Mhm. I instruct or advise my clients to establish their own power circle.
Okay.
That means they have these 7 elements around them and they are sitting in the middle
Ah.
and they choose which form the element should take. So,
Hmm.
for example, they can say for the water element, I choose this certain river or waterfall or this raindrop or the sea. And their power circle is their home base. So whenever they need more energy, they can just imagine to sit inside of their power circle and breathe in the power.
Ah, interesting. So it's all the elements together where you're in the center of this power circle.
Yes. And
Interesting.
you can sit, you can be at your office or at home or at your dentist, and you can imagine your power circle around you, or you can just choose one of the elements of your power circle and think about water to be more concentrate or a plant to be more present in the meeting you have right now. And this is a very beautiful way to use the sources of energy that the elements provide for us.
Right. So, and what that requires then is for you. Now, in traditional shamanic practices, I know that like fire would be in the south, and it seems like clarity would be in the north, and there are different kinds of directions. Does it really matter what literal direction some of these elements sit within your circle?
No,
Okay, so it's not as
Huna
strict as
is
that.
one of these philosophies which frees you from these concepts.
Ah, okay. So it's just,
Because, that makes you so narrow. You do a ritual and then you finish it and then you think, oh my God, I put the wind in the north, but it belongs to the south. I'm not sure if my ritual
worked.
is real. Yeah, and
Okay.
it doesn't matter.
And it
It's the
doesn't matter like
focus.
if the wind was here and then it's here, it's like you're kind of just tuning into your power. Or should you have a traditional places where everyone sits, or it's like wherever they sit is fine. Just imagine the 7 elements with you and
Yes.
okay. That's
And and when the wind comes first today and the other day comes the water first, then follow your intuition and the important thing is the focus and the intent.
okay, so I have a specific thing. I have my so I'm going to wrap this up, but I have a question afterwards for folks on YouTube. Are you okay if we go a little bit longer?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we have been talking to Susanne Yeichel, and we've been talking to her about her book, The Seven Elemental Forces of Huna. Thank you so much.
Thank you, CJ, and a lot of greetings from Germany to all the people listening to us, and really allow yourself to become a nature energy worker and use the sources of the elements. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right. So for YouTube folks, I want to continue. So we've talked about like how to integrate these elements in your day in day out life, and I'm sure because you were just talking about energy working and healing. So I have a foot pain. I'm about to do the Camino, and I have this ankle pain. So how
Mhm.
would I draw? Would I use the power circle, or what would I do to help the healing element for like my ankles are really I have all sorts of problems going on with my feet from walking 12 miles a day.
Okay.
What are some things that I could do either while I'm walking on the Camino or right now to help healing?
Mhm. Are you using some special treatments right now?
I do. I actually am using some CBD cream, which I'm not sure I can even use when I'm there, but I have hemp oil that I'll probably be bringing. I have stretches that I'm doing with my body. I have various
Mhm.
practitioners that I'm seeing so I can kind of analyze and do some preventative measures now to figure out what the root cause of this. There's clearly an alignment and balance issue with the way that my gait is going. And so with huge endurance, 12 miles, my normal
Mhm.
scenario is not working. So
Yeah.
that's so I'm actually working with all these practitioners to figure out what muscles I have to strengthen or what body parts or muscles have to be aligned to help whatever is trying to right itself.
Mhm.
So how would I use the seven elemental forces of Huna to help me out during my walk or just generally now as I'm trying to heal?
Yeah. So one thing is to create this power circle or
Mm-hmm.
to create a special power circle just for your ankle.
Mm-hmm.
That could be different to your regular power circle. And to imagine sometimes during the day that this power circle is around your ankle.
Okay.
And then you can invite the spirit of the elements to into the dreams of the night.
Okay. I like
So
that.
maybe you think, oh, today you can close your eyes, think about the pain in your ankle, and the first element that pops into your mind
It's water.
is water.
Yeah.
And then you can say, okay, spirit of the water, please come into my dream and do your healing work for my ankle. And then you imagine how you would like or prefer to walk the other day,
Okay, so like here's what
the
I would
next,
like to do is walk with alignment and without pain and
yeah,
please, Spirit of the Water, please come and during the evening, along with the other elements, please help the healing.
yeah. Or
Interesting.
you can work with the elemental spirits like the dwarfs and the elves.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes, I like that. Okay, and say please.
Yeah,
Okay, got
yeah,
it. So it's I could say, my lineage, my spiritual lineage, please come and help me. And please, any elements that need, here's what I would like. Please help the healing occur tonight or during the day. Like if my ankle's kind of
yeah,
hurting, just imagine that. And so I imagine whether it's a mental or physical, right? Like so maybe I'm very sad because my son's leaving for college and I'm very sad and I have a moment of
ah,
sadness. I could use the same power circle. Is that right? So this is basically
yeah.
taking a moment
It's
and asking.
useful for everything.
Okay, got
And
it.
what you can also do, you can sit in the center of your power circle
Mm-hmm.
and you can ask each element what it recommends
Mm-hmm. Mm.
to strengthen the healing process.
Oh, I like that. Okay, that's good. Okay, I like that.
And
Yeah.
you can just when you make a break during your hiking and you sit under a tree, then you can ask the tree, what would you recommend to me to
Beautiful.
strengthen the healing process?
Right. I like it. So it's using either things in or outside of yourself as ways of,
Yeah,
of drawing, either bringing that in through your imaginative powers or literally taking the thing that's near you and asking it what wisdom it's interesting. The Hawaiian stuff is it's very Taoist too. I mean, it's working with the elements and knowing that there is inherent intelligence and wisdom within everything around us, and all we have to do is ask, right? And we don't think
and
about it.
trust. And afterward, and trust what we get,
Hmm.
and then trust that it works.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. So, how's your life changed now that you have been living this way? I mean, so you had that meeting with Serge Kahili King. So, how's your life different now that you've integrated these practices with your clients and generally?
I have lot more of self-esteem,
Mm,
and I know I am the power in my life. So
mm,
I decide what happens, how I create my life, and I could deal with circumstances more easily. So I don't feel as a victim. I am I am the one who is active.
mm.
So there is always something I can do, something I can change, and and I get it's so familiar to me to work with Huna every minute.
Like it's integrated into your life, like it's a way of
Yeah,
being.
fully, fully,
Yeah.
because the shamanic way I did before was the drum,
Yes.
and so I always need space to use my drum, or when I work with clients, and sometimes I have to visit clients at the hospital. You can't stay
Bring a
there in
drum.
Germany and play the drum.
Right.
Um, and though it was at the beginning a challenge to say, okay, I can do it without it, but now it's more more easily for me, because I don't need any instruments. I don't need any expensive, fancy stuff. I can use a very simple rock from the street and say, this is the best healing stone I can have for this
Mm.
pain or whatever. And I'm not addicted to a special quartz or crystal or blessed from some special healer. So this is this kind of self-empowerment that I appreciate very much.
Yeah, but because it's all around us. So to give, special heedance to this stage, right? Versus like, okay, I may not have sage because I'm in a place where I cannot just burn this sage. I like the smell, but a lot of people do not like this in a hospital. So I can't be like throwing this all around to clear out spirits.
Yeah,
But I can call upon my power circle and to have the deep belief that that is equally as good or better than this because it's what's available is just empowering. Is that what you mean? Like I'm kind of trying to figure out how this may work in my life too. But is that
yeah,
what you meant?
yes. And whatever you do mentally is the same as the things you have in material. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, if you want to do some cleansing with the white sage, you can just imagine or invite the power of the white sage to clean the room.
Right. Yeah, because it's all energy,
And
regardless of whether it's a
yeah,
physical, tangible, thing that you can hold. This is energy, but because I can touch it, it feels different. But really, if this were gone, and I imagine that it's still energy, it's still there. It's still energy. It's still I mean, it's maybe
yeah,
not matter, but it's energy. So that's the main thing that counts. Not the matter
yeah,
that matters, but the energy
yeah.
that you're bringing into it. I like it. Thank you. That was really interesting. so,
Thank you, CJ.
so we've had Susanne Kahili here, and we've been talking again. Thank you for staying later about this book, The Seven Elemental Forces of Huna. Thank you so much. So wonderful. I feel like I'm empowered with a whole bunch of new ways to empower me on my hike and just generally, because I think one of the hardest things as we travel along the path is how do we make time for our spiritual practice, right? But if everything, the lights in my studio, I don't think of them as lights, but I think of them as like sun and transformation. That just
Yes.
kind of like, oh, okay, I'm getting my spiritual practice right now when the lights are shining on me. I'm doing my show called Fired Up with CJ, and things are
Hmm.
transforming. Even if I speak, that's like a really, it makes every moment sacred, versus kind of like, can't wait to be outside in the sun when I
Yeah,
can finally feel healing power versus like,
yeah.
yeah, this is what I have right now. And how can I draw upon that energy and change my mind to think of it differently? Super powerful. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. It was really a pleasure. Have a nice day.
Yes. All right.
Good
So
dreams and enjoy your hike.
I will. Thank you. All right. So I'll cut it there. Thank you so much. This is really interesting. Thank you. I really, um, I never know what to expect in any of these interviews. And this feels like particularly timely because I'm going on this hike, and I'm every day I'm hiking like 12 miles a day, and I haven't been able to get my meditation practice in all the time. And I'm thinking, oh, I can't get my meditation. I'm like, my spiritual practice is suffering because I'm walking all day in nature. It doesn't make any sense. I didn't. But in your mind, it makes sense. Because I'm not
Yeah.
sitting on the cushion meditating. But this has been my greatest challenge is how to figure out how every moment can be a spiritual moment, not just, I'm on the cushion, I'm spiritual. I'm off the cushion, I'm not spiritual. And I've been asking my teacher, and he's like, well, meditate throughout the day, and that's okay, but this seems to be more natural, to think,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. When do
this
you start with your hike?
on September 12th, I think. I'm flying to England on the 9th, and then on the 12th I'll be hiking in Spain for, I don't know, 28 days.
Wow. A friend of mine did it 3 years ago, and
Yes.
she enjoyed it so much, and I knew in the middle her feet were full of blood, and she said, but she changed so much, and it was such a huge experience she had, and she said, I would ever do it again and again, even if you have the pain, but you can go over it. And
Yeah, I was just talking to my husband. He was saying that, the various teachers, I'm in a non-dual tantric practice, and they say that you awaken in the head, the heart, and then the body. And I feel like this is my taste of how you can awaken in the body, because how can you be in extreme pain and still be in a sense of gratitude, openness, love for yourself, love for everything? Like, I'm not there yet. That's what I know. but I hope at the end of the trip I'll have some experiences that I know tap into that body awakening, because I'm not quite there yet. There's way more suffering than joy, and I know that that has to do with the way that I'm holding the whole thing. So it's going to be interesting to see, like your friend. People have
and you
talked again.
can
Yeah.
you can call all the ancestors and people who managed this way.
Yeah.
For example, when I do hiking in Hawaii, I always think about all the people who did this hike before me and managed it.
Mm.
And then you realize, oh, you get more power and you walk more easily and you get stronger and your thinking changes. And this is a good idea to work with the element of
Yeah, I
people.
like it. I also think it's interesting because I've been, my first exposure to this stuff was through shamanism, and I'm beginning to, and what I like about that is drawing upon spirits and going to places to get that help. But there's always, there's this process with the drum, and then you have to do this and you have to do that, and it's like this, who has the time? By the time I'm connected to spirit, 20 minutes has passed, right, or more. And
Yeah.
I can only ask one question at a time. Like, there's all these rules, and the thing that you said, the simplicity and clarity that I can do it at any moment and draw it in, is so much more helpful than I have to go through a ritual, and I have to call in the four directions, and I have to be facing the right direction, and I have to, like,
Yeah.
it's just like so onerous. And I think that also there's a part which is like the practice that I'm in right now is about drawing in your internal strength. And sometimes you're not going to have that internal strength, right? For whatever reason, you don't.
Yeah.
And I think I finally, through this conversation, have a sense like, yeah, draw on your internal strength. And sometimes that's not going to be enough. And when that happens, draw upon the external power around you, like the walnut tree. That was just such a beautiful story, because I've been trying to, like, I don't understand how to reconcile these two spiritual paths that I've gone through deeply, and now they're separate things, and it seemed like two different things. But I feel like through this conversation, there are two connected things that I didn't
Yeah.
really connect before. So this was super helpful for me in my spiritual practice. So thank you.
Great that I
Yes.
was a source of inspiring for
Yeah.
you.
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show. I would love your support in any way by giving me comments below, or to subscribe to the show, or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.